3, -1, 1.
That's what we put in, right? Did y'all get
Yeah.
that? So then
What
we
if
got our
there be three
answer.
equations if there's 3 variables?
Yes.
1,
How many
0.
variables are there?
Yeah, okay, that's what it is. So that means three rows. I mean columns, but yeah, rows. Right?
Oh.
Because there's 3 variables.
Okay, so where'd it go?
I totally forgot about that. I kind of just like blanked.
That's
Okay,
the original problem.
Okay, so how do I do this? How do I do the matrix?
It makes sense why it didn't make sense.
So what I just had?
But then we need the last one.
Question, what does the chocolate taste like?
Okay, so I'm write what I just had.
Yeah, I don't buy my own products. I don't know. It's weird.
See, I'm good right here, right? The last row is zeros. It's just straight zeros. Oh. Okay.
How do you guys feel about that?
Makes more
Okay,
sense.
that makes more sense.
What? You need 3 equations. And that third equation we don't have. So what does that bottom row say?
0.
Is that a fair equation for what we're trying to do? Absolutely. We have no other information, so there it is. So that gets plugged in.
What do we get with?
Let me ask you this.
My friend says that one's the best one.
How many solutions do you expect to have?
I think I've only had like a small piece of almond. I think that's
3 would be nearly impossible to have. That would really confuse me.
2.
I don't think I've ever seen a problem in a system of equations that has 2 solutions or 3 solutions. Tell me about the ones we did yesterday.
Infinite.
We either had none
Or infinite.
or infinite.
Or 3 or more.
Or 1, right? Don't we usually have 1 solution? X is this, Y is this, Z is this. That's 1 solution. So the options are 1,
Infinite
0,
or infinite.
or infinite. Those are the only options. What are you thinking here?
Infinite.
Infinite, why?
Because zero is equal to zero.
Because there aren't 3 equations. There aren't enough equations. Write this on the board for me. X plus Y equals 5. How many variables?
2.
How many equations?
1.
Oh, how many are there?
1.
1. How many solutions are there to that equation?
1.
Really?
Oh.
Infinite.
I'm so confused.
Infinite.
Give me a solution to that equation.
X equals
1 and
4.
X equals 4,
Y
Y
give me
equals
another
1.
2 and 3.
2 and
3
3.
and 2.
3. Give me another one.
3 and
Negative 1
2.
and
3 and
6.
2. Give me another one. 1.5 and 1.5 and what?
3.5.
3.5. Give me another one.
Negative 1 and
2.5 and
6.
Negative
2.5.
1 and 6. 2.5 and 2.5. How many solutions are there to that equation?
Infinite.
Infinite. Why?
There's only 1.
Even if there weren't decimals, there would still be infinite. Why?
Because there's 2 variables but 1
Because
equation.
there's 2 variables in 1 equation. Anytime that there are more variables than equations, we will have an infinite number of solutions. So this is going to be a problem that's going to end up being like that last one we did yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Then
So Z is, what's Z? A. Z is A. And X is 3 plus 1/4 A. Oh, X equals Z. And and y is, say it again? 1 plus 7/4 a.
So for that one, I did the same, like I didn't do the zeros at the bottom, I still did the same thing, so how?
I want us to, we should be used to having 3 equations. Yes, it will work, it won't change anything, but you probably just want to get it in the habit, because it could cause an issue on some other type of problem. It is possible to have those 2 and still have no solution. And if you don't have that bottom equation, you're not gonna know. You know what I'm saying? Like you have those first 2 rows, but that last row tells us that it's an infinite number. If that last row said 0, 0, 0, 1, there'd be no solution. And we're not gonna know that if we don't have that bottom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, do we just, why do we set Z to A? Do we do that every time?
Yeah, it's just the last pair, it's the last pair.
That's what they want us to call it. I've seen it called C before.
Yeah, that's.
Does it matter if we just leave it at Z?
Well, don't leave it as Z. I said I've seen it as C
Oh.
before, not Z.
So then when we figure out X, we just take the last 2, right?
Just solve for X. Because that equation says X plus, or I'm sorry, X minus 1/4 Z equals 3, correct?
Uh-huh.
So solve for X. Add the 1/4 Z to both sides.
Okay.
And then you put it in the parentheses.
Put it as an order triple.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, let me take a picture of this.
I have absolutely no idea what you just said.
How far into grade did that test start?
I'm grading.
Alright, are we gonna do 84?
No, which one's 84? I've done that one all day.
84 is pretty much the same thing, it has to do
No,
variables.
that's
That's
even, right?
83, my bad.
Oh, 83.
Yeah, you guys wanna do 83?
Who's that?
No?
Which one's it?
Does anyone need 83?
No.
No? Alright, what about 87?
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
Oh, 83 is the same as 81.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for
that one.
87,
I was just.
Oh,
Okay.
You guys can, is that on? No, it's not on. You guys can do 87. 32-29. How's the score of the Super Bowl? 32-29. You have field goals for, wow. You have field goals for 3, touchdowns for 6, 2-point conversions for 2, and extra points for 1. Is that good?
so the score variables.
Yeah.
Are you gonna post it tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
So A is a number,
It's gonna
we
be
want to
after
do 1, 2,
5:30 though, because that's
3,
when I
6.
get home, but it'll be up time.
outside 1, 2, 3, 6. So A is a number of
Because you're coming up with
5:30.
1
Oh.
how
point,
many touchdowns you scored.
1 point plays.
Yeah.
B is equal to the number of 2 points.
I don't get home till 5.
Now, it makes no difference. Did anybody else do A, B, C, and D? What did everybody else do?
W, X, Y, Z.
No, I'm gonna stay UD. Okay, so then what's it called? It said that 4 times as many touchdowns as field goals. So that means
You guys can help them. It's allowed. He said 4 times as many touchdowns as field goals.
What is
Which one is-
times make that field goal?
Which one's?
Be careful. Usually people get this backwards.
Wait,
Yeah.
you're under the.
Oh, wait, no.
Underline the total.
I think it's recording.
Before C equals D.
4C equals D.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get mixed up.
I just need my watercolors.
Think about it
So
this way.
sad.
Which one is there more of? Are there more? Touchdowns. So would you multiply touchdowns by 4 to equal field goals?
No.
Or would you have to multiply field goals by 4 to equal touchdowns? You know what I'm saying? That's why I say you gotta think it through, because the net, that's my first thought too. It says 4 times as many touchdowns, so 4 times a touchdown. But
And that should be the second one, right? 5 times as many extra points.
No, it would be 5B.
which one are there more of?
There's more extra points.
So there's more of A,
Yeah.
so does it make sense to multiply A to equal B?
Okay, and then we know that the total is 16 scoring plays. That's 16.
Because you have to do it like how we did the last day. 1A, 2B, 3C, 60.
Well, no, this is just the total number.
The point total is 32 versus 29, and then you have to figure out how many points. Yes, that is.
And then
So then you do.
32 plus 29.
Should equal, what is this? 61? Okay, so then, can we do the matrix here?
Yeah.
How do we do the matrix?
0, 0, 4. Because you have to change it.
But there's 4.
Change it to match?
Yeah, your top four.
Minus B equals 0.
Yeah.
Align all the variables.
Yeah.
So make sure your A column's on, your B column is on, so on.
They're just making sure all the variables are on the left side.
No, that's not, well.
That's not what you meant?
Yeah, you can variables on one side of the equation.
Well, they already are on one side equation.
No, for the top two.
All of the equations
Oh.
lining up with the variables.
So then,
Now move it so it's equal to 0.
I'm not, okay? I'm not. But tell your coach that you guys are getting a 0 on a quiz because because the teachers didn't. No. I just said I'm not. But I kind of want to send a message.
Okay.
Tell them you're getting a 0 on a quiz because it's not written in. You know, we didn't get an email that, so it's unexcused, something like that, okay? I'm not, okay? Good luck, guys.
then once we get,
Yeah, when you said that, let me read it.
how do we get,
No, I'm
how do
really
we get both
grumpy
of
right
these?
now, so I'm
Oh,
not-
wait, do we just
I
do
don't
minus
wanna
D?
play game
Move it over to the other
Ah,
side, make it
okay.
equal to 0.
Or screwing up. In this case, it's their coach.
That makes a
Why
lot
would
more
you have a, wait, what?
That's right.
Yeah, you did.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, so then,
Now you did the matrix.
now I do the matrix.
Do you like the way you wrote the second one?
No.
No.
I can't.
How would you guys have written the second one?
A minus 5, B.
What is it?
Negative 8 plus 1.
Oh, you just moved it around, so I don't remember what did it say at the beginning? 5B equals A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, can you just flip it around and say A minus 5B?
Okay, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh.
A minus 5B is not the same thing as 5B minus A.
Because it all.
So then we put it in the matrix,
After,
right?
when you do the
Yeah.
matrix.
Okay, so
Makes
that'd
more
be,
sense. Yeah. I was
You
thinking.
said negative A plus 5B plus 0C plus 0D. You're gonna have to do that in the matrix.
That's what
That's
the-
just fine if you do it like that.
Oh,
wait, is that right? Am I doing it right?
I heard someone saying
I said, is it wrong? And I said, no.
Oh, I thought he said, is it right?
Yeah.
And then you said, no, it's right. I was like,
How would you guys get when you did that?
and then you're good from there?
Yeah.
Hold on.
A is 5, B is 1, C is 2, D is 6, D is 8. Sorry, D is 8.
Yeah, I'll like. Where's my pen?
Now stand up there and be a model, since they're taking pictures.
Oh, no. I'm too good with, I'm too good with muscle.
That's what I don't want to I heard it.
So then it's 5, 1, 2, 8.
Yeah.
Not the students, but the office and the coaches and stuff like that. That would be making a big trouble, wouldn't it? I said I could really, I could write them all referrals for walking out of class. So, but then that would cause them problems. I don't want to do that. They would do it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, yeah, let me take a peek. Yeah, it makes all my sense now.
We happier now? I don't think that statement's true, but I'm sure you said it for a reason. I thought it's not true.
Hey, did everybody get a photo?
Does anybody still need this?
Yeah, hold on.
See, because if you ask it any other way, it's like, is it okay if I get rid of this? And then people that aren't paying attention that are writing it down are like, but if you say, does anybody still need it? Now that kind of makes it valid. I think Christian is going to do a lot better in life than a math teacher.
You can be a math professor.
No.
No, you don't need it.
Sorry, I'm a little grumpy about my job right now. You may find that hard to believe, but nothing to do with you guys. No, like I've said many times, God, I had this last hour. My grumpiness with you is, hey, shh. That's what I would grumpy. Sorry. Done?
Yeah.
Let's go. We have a bunch of things to do. I have 35 minutes to get them done. It's about 4 or 5 different things here. So it's a lot. But that being said, the first first 2/3 to 3/4 of this stuff is about as easy as we can possibly get. And I actually really truly mean that. For instance, here's problem number 1. Trust me. If I were not here and they said, you have to get this right, if you get this right, you get $100. What would you guess the answer is? Seriously? Google? Come on. Please have a little more confidence in yourselves than that.
Fine. Not
5.
Photo.
8.
Two.
No O in here. 2. And that is correct. Like I said, it is exactly as easy as you think. You just add the corresponding elements. 3 plus 2, 5 plus 3, 7 plus -5, -2 plus 1.
It's not normal paper.
Okay? Next problem, though, you're going to get wrong. Okay, I want you to know that. I'm telling you in advance. 3, 5, 7, -2 plus 2, 3, 4, -5, 1, 6.
That's a lot of numbers. I don't.
Thank you. Who wants a hip anatomy review? Hip anatomy review?
Thank you. No, I take, sports, we basically do.
Okay. Equals.
We're gonna get it wrong.
Yeah.
Might as well.
You are trusting me, right? I appreciate that.
We're already wrong.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You don't add that.
Oh, wait.
Can you add something?
You photo.
Cannot possible.
Cannot possible.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Why not?
Because there's 3 numbers in one and 2 in the other.
Well,
Because
There's 3,
we're six.
because
6
the
numbers in one and 2 in the other.
dimensions
Are different.
of the
Box thingy.
box thing, is also known as matrices, are different.
I'm a little bit.
We cannot add two matrices whose dimensions are not the same. To add matrices, to subtract matrices, just add and subtract, just add and subtract. The dimensions must be the same. Okay? So we just can't add them. Nothing we can do. We can't create anything, we can't make anything, we just can't do it. Okay?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
By the way, the answer is not no solution. Okay? No solution doesn't work there. It's not the right terminology. The answer is we cannot add them. What would you wildly guess the answer to this one is? 1,
2,
2,
12,
12,
-3.
-3.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't write -5.
Yep. Subtracting is exactly the same as adding. You know what I mean by that. Subtract corresponding elements. 3 minus 2, 5 minus 3, 7 minus -5, -2 minus 1. Questions there? Okay. Have I lied so far?
No.
I know. This looks like probably the hardest thing ever. If you had, this number that's out in front, in this case the 6, that is called a scalar. Yeah, basically. If you had to take a wild guess, what do you think the answer to this would be?
18,
18.
30,
30.
42.
People are going, wait, 6 times 7. Tell me I'm wrong. I was right, you know it.
Negative 12.
Negative 12.
It doesn't matter, we're not right. You said to
What
tell
did
us
we
you're
actually
wrong.
do right there?
We distributed.
We distributed. Yeah. We just simply distributed the 6 throughout the matrix, and we're good. Doesn't matter how big the matrix is, how small the matrix is, we just distribute that to everything. That is called scalar multiplication. Okay? Questions there? All right, let's do the hard thing. I told you that 2/3 to 3/4. Well, we've done 2/3 to 3/4 already.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. We only have one more main thing to do, and then I'm going to talk about something else at the end. But okay. obvious and expected, as all of the other things were, multiplying matrices is not. In fact, if you thought of a million different ways to do it, you would not come up with this. So therefore, pay attention, jot stuff down, follow what we're doing, and I'm going to ask you to use the same terminology that I do because I have watched this for many, many, many years, and the number of students that mess it up because they try to be, and this is me saying this, because they try to be lazy. Yeah. There are things that I'm going to say, make sure you do it this way. This is one of them. Okay, there's no other way around this. When we multiply two matrices, we multiply a row from the first matrix times a column from the second matrix. A row from the first matrix times a column from the second matrix. Now, to be honest, before we even get started, what we need to do is make sure that we write down the dimensions of the two matrices, and I'll explain why in a second. Dimensions of the first matrix, 2 by 2. Dimensions of the second matrix, 2 by 2. So we're starting, when we multiply, we're starting with some easy ones. Okay? Now, we are allowed to multiply matrices if and only if these two middle numbers are the same. If those two middle numbers are not the same, then we can't multiply them. The same way that if the dimensions are not the same, we can't add them. So again, it would not be a no solution, it would just be a cannot multiply. Okay with that?
Yeah.
Middle two numbers must be the same. The outer numbers, the first and the last numbers, those are the dimensions of our answer. So in this case, like I said, this is all very straightforward because we have 2 by 2 times a 2 by 2, which gets us 2 by 2. But you'll see this in a little while, that this can get a little more, as long as you remember this stuff, you'll be fine. Two middle numbers must be the same. The outer numbers are the dimensions of the answer. Let me run for a minute or two. I'm going to put another one down here a little bit bigger so I can do my work down here. Okay? So, here we go. To multiply two matrices, we're going to multiply a row from the first matrix times a column from the second matrix.
A row or the first row? Okay.
We'll get it all. I very strongly suggest that you draw arrows pointing at a row from the first one and a column from the second one, because you're going to follow the arrows as you go through. And here's what I mean. To multiply a row by a column, we are going to multiply the first element of the row times the first element of the column, which in this case is 3 times 2, which gives us 6. Now, we have to multiply the entire row times the entire column. So we are going to keep doing that until we are done with the row and the column. So we did the first element of the row times the first element of the column. Now we're going to do the second element of the row times the second element of the column. So 5 times -5, which gives us minus 25.
Sophia. You have a Sophia?
Yeah.
Where's Sophia?
Bye, Sophia. It was nice
She's all
knowing
right.
you. We'll miss you.
No, he won't. He's lying.
Welcome back, Sophia.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Bye, Sophia. She's everywhere. Are we done with the row and the column? First element of the row times first element of the column. Second element of the row times second element of the column.
Yeah.
There is no third element of the row, correct? And there is no third element of the column. Therefore, we are done. 6 minus 25 gives us negative 19. That is the first spot of our answer.
This seems like the most unintelligent way to do things.
You will notice where we put this. We put this in the first row and the first column because we multiply together the first row and the first column. So, it doesn't matter what order you do this. You just know what row and what column you use, and then you put the answer in the appropriate spot. So, we are done with this. So now let's do this. So we'll do the first row times the second column. And I very strongly suggest that you use the phrasing. First element of the row times first element of the column, which gives us 9, plus second element of the row, which is 5, times second element of the column, which is 1, which gives us 5. 9 plus 5, that goes there. With me so far? Okay, what's next?
First element of
Second row, first column. So what do? First element of the row, first element of the column gives us 14. And then second element of the row,
No.
Oh, then negative 5.
we're purpleizing right now. So I did,
Sorry.
no, it's fine. So we're doing the first element of the row times the first element of the column, which gave us the 14. The second element of the row times the second element of the column, which gives us
plus
10, plus 10. So 24. See if red's doing any better now. Second row,
Second column.
right? This spot, and this spot is the second row and the second column. So, what do we got? 21. Okay, talk it through, because the people that make mistakes on this don't talk. And what I mean is they just kind of look at it and go, okay, so 7 times 3 is 21. And the number of people that then go,